So I'm so excited to have you here with us, Ilana. I really am. I have absolutely adored you since the day you were introduced to Beachbody, and your program is phenomenal. And I think it's just been amazing watching my clients have such success and feeling so hopeful when they didn't have hope for so long and feeling like they just couldn't change their mindset. And so I'm excited because, you are obviously, you're a dietitian, you're a nutritionist, you have a successful practice in Beverly Hills, you're a mama, a wife, and a number one on Amazon, which is amazing. And so I'm honored and so excited to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. You're all amazing. I'm so glad you got on. And sorry to everyone who's watching the recording and didn't get onto the live, but you are definitely here.
I know. Such a bummer. So I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I think
most of the group here, like doing the 2B mindset, have tried it, know about it, don't know about it. Okay. Top questions with it, difficulties, struggles, what do we want to focus on? How can I help most?
I know everybody is either implementing everything 100% or still learning everything and slowly applying everything. So that's kind of where we've got a good mixture of everybody. I think I know I had wrote down a couple of things just from, talking to everybody, some of the things that we struggle with. And I love because you addressed it in your book as you talk about, basically the body positive movement and self-love and then self-sabotage. And it can be super confusing to love your body as it is. And that's a huge message that's going around, but also to know that it's also really important to show your body love by treating it the way it deserves to be treated.
Yeah, I think the messaging gets lost in the you are worthy and you are enough sentiment, which is so important for everyone to realize, but it's the execution where it really needs to be emphasized. So the bottom line is we all are having a super insane year. All of us would have been thinking about Summit this year, which is now canceled. A lot of our jobs have changed and our kids have been shuttled, and it's just been a highly emotional and transitional and challenging year for everyone. And, there are a lot of people saying, relax and take it easy and don't think about your weight in this time. But if you think about it, that's such a backwards way of placing it, because ultimately your health is your wealth. And at the end of the day, we're all fighting actual health virus. And we are seeing some of the early reports of the past 4 months of people who've gotten the virus and everything. The whole reason why we're all shut down right now and everything is a health crisis issue. And we're seeing that your health, the foods you eat, how fit you are going into it could make the biggest difference, even in life and death moving forward. So it should be a sentiment of this is such a challenging year. Let's not make it more challenging by being unhealthy. Let's do whatever we can to stay as healthy and fit and eat as many easy, long-lasting, inexpensive vegetables as we can during this time, so we don't add more challenges onto our life. And I think that's where the messaging gets lost. You have to think that you are worth it enough, that you are special enough, that you're worth taking care of, that you're worth making yourself a good meal and not just eating a bag of chips for dinner. I do agree with body positivity. I do agree that you need to feel positive about yourself. You need to have confidence. You need to know you're worthy in order to take great care of yourself. And that's the ultimate execution of self-love and self-care. And again, it's when you're healthy and fit, you are actually making less problems for yourself. I broke my foot. I'm thankful that my husband was able to carry me off the court of my injury, and I didn't have to worry about the fact that I'm carrying 80, 60, 40 pounds more weight than I am, and he wouldn't be able to do that to me. I'm happy that my life has become easier as a result of taking care of myself. So I think that's where self-love needs to come into play, is you're doing this for your future self. that's where the self-love comes in.
Right. And I feel like, and I mean, you know what it's like to be 100 pounds overweight and to be emotionally eating and stress eating. And I think, for many of us, we've also been in that situation. And I think it's really hard to feel confident and love the skin you're in when you're not treating your body the way it deserves to be treated.
Yeah, it's such a cycle. I think everything is a cycle, and self-sabotage, calling yourself FAT, which is like the worst thing you can do. It's a cycle, right? A lot of people say, oh, I'm just FAT. Like they call themselves fat. They tell themselves like they're so big, they can't believe it. And they spend too much time on that, like beating themselves up stage. And they don't realize that like just starting with that stage actually leads to more self-sabotage. And, you have to get out, you have to kind of cycle yourself out of it.
Yeah. And that's, yeah. And that's super, I know that's super.
And I think that's the conversation I'm having with a lot of my private clients now this week is like, I think a lot of people are in this state where they're just, I can't believe I gained weight this past 15, like, I can't believe I gained 15 pounds these past few months, and like, I can't believe I stopped working out, or I can't believe and just, there's not a lot of that's going to come out of that regret and that beating yourself up. Like, I really never see someone be like, oh, I can't believe I gained so much weight. And then like all of a sudden burst into this newfound sense of energy to get it off. It usually starts with, okay, I gained that weight, but I have, 3 months now that I can really focus on this. So I think it's just, being able to just jump up, start a new day and get re-energized. Because it's never too late to get it together. It's never too late to lose weight. It's never too late to change your habits. It's never too late to talk to yourself different, to take better care of yourself. Like that's always waiting for all of us.
Right. It's a matter of doing it.
And it's small steps. It's nothing dramatic. It's never a matter of anything so dramatic. It's always a matter of just a few new steps, like just reworking your first hour of the day routine and then working on the second hour. I think people get too overwhelmed because they're focused on fixing everything in one instant. And it's usually just like a small progressive little steps that lead to the big peaks.
What would you say for anybody that is struggling to change their mindset when it comes to the scale, when that number has always just dictated their worth and how their day will go? How do they change that? Like, what is a simple thing that they can do to just not look at the scale like that and not let it determine their worth?
I think you need to focus more on, first of all, day to day will fluctuate. You have to know that day to day will fluctuate, especially as a woman, especially if anyone on here is like breastfeeding or PMSing or any of these things. Day to day, the scale is going to fluctuate. You have to look at it as like week by week for overall progress. The day-to-day scale is just a matter of a sense of accountability. If you know you're going on scale in the morning, you're a lot less likely to just keep eating your kids' extra French fries or grilled cheese or chips late at night. It is that sense of accountability, like that's what it's serving a lot of the times. It's also helping you decipher what's working and what isn't. So I think people look at the scale as a like report card of how they're doing in life or how much they're trying and everything. And you have to realize there are a lot of factors that are going to influence the scale beyond just what you're eating, timing of meals, your hormones, the salts you eat, the amount of water you drink, like all these things can play a role. So it's just a matter of accountability and feedback. And day to day, it's going to fluctuate, and tell yourself that and be okay with that. Week to week is the overall progress. And we live a really long, beautiful, amazing life. So if you have 4 days in a row on the scale where it's staying exactly the same and you feel like you're putting in effort, those 4 days in your mind can start conjuring up into this, like, I'm trying so hard and there's no change. And like, it could feel like there's 3 months, and it's not. It's 4 days, which is nothing in the scheme of things. And it's when people get too pent up and too frustrated and too fixated that they start to just give up. And that's where the whole self-sabotage cycle comes in, and you stop seeing it as a form of self-care and everything else. So the scale is your friend. It's just a little feedback tool. Sometimes it's not your friend and it's like fluctuating like crazy just because of little salts and it's over exaggerating and all this stuff. but you have to just be like, all right, so tomorrow I'll try again. Like, let me just drink more water, maybe eat a little earlier and see if it corrects itself tomorrow. I think the most important thing is you always zoom out and you realize a few days going on it consistently feels like a lot of data points, but it's still just 4 days. So it's really about the week to week that you start to see the progress. And if it's not changing the way you want it to, then something probably needs to be changing in your overall behaviors and foods you're eating and the amount you're actually detail tracking and water you're drinking and so forth. So focus more on what you can do and less on what it's telling you it's done.
Those are all really great tips. So I really appreciate that because I know that's been like a struggle. I know another struggle is dinner. All of a sudden, like dinner is just been like a really big struggle. How to, I think like, what does it look like on the plate? Like how little of protein and how much veggies, like that's been a big thing in our group. And then what can I eat that's super easy?
I love it.
Another thing.
Yeah. First of all, when it comes to dinner, I think variety is insanely important. So in the To Be Mindset program, I show plated dinners, and I have a big problem with the plated dinners I showed because I think it was like zoodles and meatballs. And the bottom line is, I think like for me, it can never just be zoodles and meatballs. It has to be almost like a third thing of like also baby carrots and some hummus. I think variety is key. I think we all kind of grew up with like a three-part structure to a dinner. I think we always had a starch, a protein, and a vegetable, like a potato, a steak, and green beans. And so when you are trying to have less carbs at night, sometimes it feels a little insufficient if it's just a veggie and a protein visually. And I always recommend just adding in a second veggie. It's not that you're taking out a starch, it's that you're adding in more veggies. So even in the Mindset membership recipes, and whenever I call it a dinner recipe, which is now available for like everyone on Beachbody, the Mindset menu, you see be okay. Even if I say this is a complete dinner, you can still have a side salad. You could still have a vegetable soup. You can still have a canned soup or something like that. Try, track, and see what works best for you. But I do find variety is important. Variety also means that you're cooking a lot. I literally just ate like an entire cabbage of cabbage steaks. They're big, they're delicious, they're satisfying. And I find like the more I eat them, the more weight comes off. So I think you have to allow yourself, one, to eat enough. If you actually want to be dinner and done, which I really recommend for digestion and mindset in addition to weight loss, just being dinner and done, closing up the kitchen, not getting back in there and fussing with everything and making a mess and then just getting yourself started. Dinner and done, I just think is a very like ease of life principle that will also help you lose weight. But the best way to achieve it, I find, is to have a really like good, sufficient dinner, enough protein to get full. I think a lot of people are used to like following a palm size amount of protein or something. And for me, like, I think that's just like BS advice. Like I was given it nonstop. I was told that nonstop from dietitians when I was in weight loss camp and so forth. But some days I'm really hungry and I want a fillet of salmon that's like this big, and some days, like now with a broken foot, one of the stinkiest parts about it is like my appetite is just not as big. So I can't justify eating as much. I'm just so much less active. I'm like essentially living in a nursing home. That's how much activity I'm getting these days with a broken foot. So it's amazing that just a few bites of chicken is enough. So you have to try, track, and see what works best for you based on your day, your hunger, your activity, your weight loss, and so forth. But I think variety is key. Variety and flavor. And I think, cauliflower rice risotto and make the roasted green beans, like just go for it and give yourself the time to make it. Because if you don't make the food and make the variety and make it delicious, you're just going to start picking on your kids and husband and everyone else's starch. And that just, I feel like, just keeps happening.
Yeah.
So it's really a matter of making 2 veggies at dinner. I think that's really good. And then you said quick and easy. I mean, I think the cauliflower rice risotto is just so great. Like just the Laughing Cow cheese wedges, essentially, and frozen cauliflower rice. You do it in a microwave. Ta-da. I also love like bags of broccoli florets that you can microwave in the bag, and then just get a marinara sauce or Thai peanut sauce or something to like douse it in, and have that with a rotisserie chicken. Frozen shrimp is so easy because you just take it from the freezer right to a skillet and it can cook right through. And if you get a bag of frozen stir fry, already pre-cut, pre-washed veggies and mix it all together with some teriyaki, you're pretty good to go. Quick meals, I'm all about. I mean, even cabbage steaks, I find to be the easiest thing because there's no major dicing. It's like 5 cuts. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Lay on a baking sheet, spray, season, and then I like it around 45 minutes, just cooked in. So easy is important. Easy is totally important. I'm totally with you on that. Last night, I went through my whole fridge. I had a bunch of vegetables that just had to go. I call them must-go veggies. So I had like 2 zucchinis, 3 carrots, an onion. I just like had 2 tomatoes. Like I just had a bunch of things that were going bad. So I chopped them up into pretty big pieces. I put them into a big pot with water and consomme and made a big soup. And I mean, everyone ate it. My kids love carrots in a soup. So, and then I pulled out all the good zucchini and it worked. So it doesn't have to be complicated. The last thing I want is for anyone to overthink dinner and make it gourmet. If you want gourmet, we have great recipes within the Mindset membership, but like there's always ways to shortcut it up.
Great advice and tips. You guys, what questions do you have? Unmute yourself, ask away.
And one tip I have to say, I don't know if you guys are on TikTok. I absolutely love TikTok. I'm seeing some more and more Beachbody coaches on there actually lately. But I did a video and it went like just really viral the past 2 days. But a lot of people think with zucchini noodles, you need like this big fancy spiralizer, or you need to spend a lot of money on pre-done zucchini spirals. The easiest way to do zucchini is really cheap now. It's summer squash. It's in season. It's like one of the best veggies for weight loss. I have 5 new recipes in my book with zucchini. If you want to make zucchini noodles, just use a regular peeler and do ribbons. You just literally have to just like peel it. Just peel the entire thing and then add tomato sauce and cheese in a pan. Cook it like 4 minutes and it just tastes like you're eating a big bowl of ziti. It's delicious.
That's a really good idea. We all have those in our kitchen. That's awesome.
Yeah, everyone has a peeler. Easy, cheap peeler. That's all you need.
All right, guys, unmute yourself. Who has a question? Ask her whatever you want.
Or tell me anything. Like share with me your To Do Mindset experience.
I wish.
I have a question. Can you hear me? It's Joanne.
Hey, Joanne.
I'm wondering about timing of eating. If you think there's an important time to start or an important time to stop, or if it really doesn't matter as long as we're just doing those things.
Well, intermittent fasting, I think like a lot of people talk about intermittent fasting. I think it's just like crazy how many people are out there promoting it and recommending it. Like so many people. For me, it just did not work. Like I actually tried it. Even at the start of quarantine, like for 4 or 5 days, I gained weight. I felt crazy. Like I felt so low energy that I felt like I had to eat so much within those hours to stay full because I was so nervous that I would be hungry that I ended up having no energy later in the day. I think anyone who tells you like exactly what hours you need to eat just never works. People always say like, shouldn't I stop eating at 6? And what if you had to work on something till 6 and then it's 6:30 and you're hungry? Like you're going to have to eat dinner then. So I really think the best way to go about this is tracking. And I do think that it constantly changes. I mean, some people ask me like, do I meal prep? I'm the opposite of meal prep. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like my life is constantly changing. Like tonight, my father wants to come over in a mask with me, you know what I mean, and celebrate his birthday. Like things are always changing. And so sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm really going to eat an early dinner. Eating at 4:30 really works for me. But lately, between 4 and 6, my kids are just like in a meltdown phase where they're just, I think, so sick of us and like missing school and friends. It's just, they're so difficult in that time that eating then wouldn't work. And I honestly rather get them to sleep and then eat much later than I'm used to. But now I'm eating at around like 7:45 dinner, and it's working. And everything's just kind of shifting towards that. So, I think you really have to evaluate your own schedule and what works. And when I say that, try to focus on you, because a lot of times, like a lot of women I work with, and I feel like we're all women here. So like, I would say a lot of women I work with get very hungry at around 4:30 and then, or 4. And then sometimes want to tell, Megan's like, yeah, what's the deal with that? And then I find like, then that tends to be like the downhill, right? Like around 4, you're like maybe making dinner for the family, and then you have a bite of something, but then the bite turns into chocolate chips and then a handful of this and picking over the stove and all that. And then you think at 7:30 you should still eat with your spouse when they're ready to eat. And I think honor and respect your hunger and try to flow with it. So if at 4:30, and I did this for like months and it worked great. I mean, now like everything's weird, but at 4:30, when I would feel that urge to just snack, I would just eat dinner then. I would just call it dinner, make it filling, make it satisfying. Stop just trying to like fight the hunger and having a little bit of this and that, just eating. And then when my family's eating later or something, I can focus on, can you get me ketchup? Can you get me a fork? And all of that. And then focus on just drinking my water then, and no one really notices. That's maybe because my kids are really young. If your kids are teenagers, or you're out of the house, or you don't have kids, or whatever it is, just make it work for you. So I think it's important that you, one, don't listen to anyone else's advice of 16:8 and eat in this hour window. And then also, even within your household, you don't necessarily need to be eating at the exact same time as other people to maximize your social interaction in your relationship. So, I mean, I feel like everyone I'm speaking to lately, like, will say everyone in their house is eating at completely different times, and then maybe like one meal a day or one meal a week or something, or if you, like, everyone comes together. Whatever works, whatever is working best for everyone, I think. It's good.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
Yeah, thank you.
Megan, what's going on with you? Did you have a question?
I was actually just going to ask you if there's anything, I mean, most of the things that you have in the cookbook that I've seen are like kid friendly, but I'm trying to get my girl to eat more vegetables too. Is there any like kid friendly things that you have? Because the girl can't live on chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. It's driving me crazy. So
yeah,
any tips on that would be great.
Yeah, I totally hear you. One thing we did, I mean, like I said, life is just like constant experimentation, always being open to changing and learning, I think is key. And with parents and picky eaters, I always say, like, never use finite words. Like, sometimes parents will tell me, like, my kid hates green beans. I'm like, your kid is 5. Like, they don't know if they like them, so, and my kid's a picky eater. My kid won't eat this. Like, for now, everything's a stage. So it's really a matter of like never giving up and always trying new things. One of the best tricks for kids is, one, modeling is everything. The more you eat something, the more they will. Even if my kids don't like the veggies I'm eating, they still usually come in and try it. Maybe they spit it out, but because I'm eating it and making it look good, they at least have more bites than they would if they never saw it. That's one. So modeling is everything. Even if your kids never eat vegetables, seeing that their mom always is. I've seen my private practice, just working with people like at every stage and interviewing them and talking to them, they always come back to it later in life. If your kid is only eating mac and cheese and chicken nuggets till she's 15, and then goes to college, because she saw you eat salads, she'll eventually come back to salads because she has it programmed in her head that that's what you do when you become an adult. Like, that's a normal part of life. So modeling is always like very, very important. The second is making sure they're hungry. I know my kid's not really hungry if they only want dessert or a lollipop. That just means you're not hungry. And so it's like, okay, let's go do an art project. Let's go ride our bikes. Let's go take a walk. And then let's have dinner later. And then later, you can usually get them to eat. So a lot of times we are set, like, family dinner is 5 p.m. If they had like pizza at a friend's house at 3:30, if you're making, which happened to my daughter last night, trying to make dinner 5 p.m. is just going to be a fight. It's just going to be a huge fight. It's not going to work. So I think you have to wait till they're actually hungry. and put the veggies out first. So like, and then third is don't be afraid of salt. Salt is the best trick for getting to kids to eat veggies. So like slice up a tomato and everything with the bagel seasoning or salt, cucumbers, salt. Kids are so used to eating such salty packaged snacks like potato chips. Any little salt that you add to a cucumber will always be less salt than they're getting in a package of popcorn or cookies or chips, and it will actually make them more familiar with the taste, the crunch, and get them to like them. So that's always good too. Oh, there's so many tips on that. But yeah, salt and flavor is always a good idea.
Okay.
And then I just made like cinnamon sugar carrot sticks. I like for kids, when it comes to eating veggies, just never be afraid of salt and sugar. A little goes such a long way. Like I just roasted carrots with brown sugar and cinnamon. Compared to baking with her, the sugar is like nothing. Like 1 teaspoon on a huge thing. But she was like, yeah, those were pretty good. Like she didn't have 50 of them, but she ate them, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not anti salt and sugar for eating more veggies. I think
that's really good to hear, because I know so many people are, against salt, against all sugar. But I think like your point is
for
really
only so long.
Yeah.
You could be anti-salt and sugar until the cheat day comes in, the binge comes in, the unhealthy like makeup of it comes in. So I'd rather be slow and steady always.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, but that helps with the like steering you away from those binge days and like
you never need them. You never crave them. You never even bring them in your mind when you have a little enjoyment every day.
Great point. Great tip for sure.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
So what about with Shakeology and Daily Sunshine? Like, I just would love your personal opinion on both of those. We actually drank both in our home. But what is your opinion?
I love Daily Sunshine. My daughter drank Daily Sunshine every single morning for probably 3 years. like wake up and shake. I loved it because it's so much water at the start of her day, 10 grams of plant-based protein, fiber, omega-3s. Couldn't recommend it more. Now that she's a little older, I don't even get Daily Sunshine anymore. I keep wondering, like I keep thinking like I have to place the order for it. Now we really just do Shakeology. I usually add banana. She actually doesn't like nut butter, but I usually add like banana and milk, sometimes whole milk, sometimes whatever milk I have in the house, almond milk, whatever it is. And I've transitioned her to Shakeology just because it's easier to not have so much in the house, and she's a little older and can handle the protein and loves it. So, I mean, I'm a huge fan. I have Shakeology every day. I did try the salted caramel, and it's good, but I do prefer the chocolate. I do. I mean, I don't know that I don't have a taste as much for the vegan flavors as I do for the whey. So what I've been doing is I've actually been doing like a sprinkle of the salted caramel in my chocolate, which kind of like adds a really delicious flair. So I do like maybe like a half scoop chocolate and then like a half scoop of salted caramel. That's what I've been doing. I have it every day. I have Shakeology. I love it. I just love it. And I think honestly, it saves so much money and time and stress for the whole family when it comes to like wanting ice cream. Like I think we used to just always have some ice cream, and that I used to have both, like Shakeology and ice cream. And then I realized like we're not having Shakeology enough. We're having too much like Halo Top and Enlightened, and they're like $6-7 a pint or whatever. And they're messy and they're just not as helpful of having Shakeology. So now for dessert for dinner, a lot of the times I'll just make the kids a shake and make it really thick with lots of ice and have it in a spoon. Sometimes I put sprinkles on top of it, like a couple of sprinkles. And it's just such a healthy, worthwhile, tasty treat that I think is so good to have around. Yeah. So I think everyone should really treat it like that. Like, I mean, even a lot of people think like, oh, it's a protein, so then I can't have something else. For dinner at night, if you have some chicken and it's not enough and you want a little bit more protein and you also want a sweet dessert, make a shake. You know, sometimes even making like a half shake can be delicious. So it works just as like a bonus protein source at meals too.
Yeah, Me so much. Doing one at night, especially like when I was trying to break my nighttime habits, having a shake, even just like a half a scoop, that was like my saving grace.
I love it. I mean, I think that's like the easiest, smartest thing. Shakeology's been awesome.
But, yeah.
The shake cakes are really great too that you can make.
And then you heat them up.
Yeah. Those are like the one thing at night where if I really want that chocolate chip cookie, I'm like, just make a shake cake. And sometimes I can't even finish it all because it's so
I need to
rich.
get that recipe. We're actually not allowed to publish recipes on like cooked Shakeology just because the nutritionals change in cooking, like the probiotics and all that stuff. So if you notice the Beachbody blog and Mindset Menu and Fixate channel, like none of them have cooked Shakeology. So you have to like find them in the deep dark web.
Pinterest. I have to say, your turnip fries and your cabbage steaks with the Thousand Island dressing seem to have been like the most popular amongst everybody. Like they've been loving this. Yeah.
Good. I mean, I can't eat those enough. I think you just have to get yourself in the habit of eating veggies, and you have to look at it as a habit. So anytime you're really down on yourself, gaining weight, craving carbs, eating a lot of sugar, feeling less motivated, feeling like you're frustrated, it really helps to look at it as like, why am I creating a habit out of it? Like the more I'm eating the junk, the more I'm craving it, the less I'm making the veg. So sometimes you just have to like psych yourself out and just start, acting the way you want to be acting. Like whether or not it feels natural to you in the moment or not, you kind of just have to like push yourself to wake up, drink the Energize, work out. Like even if it doesn't feel natural, it doesn't feel normal, because it's the action that provokes the more action. And motivation, the really like the best tip on motivation I've ever seen for myself and others is like, it takes like 5 days to be motivated. Like you actually you can't wait to be motivated to act. You need to act, and then with the action will bring results and further motivation. So I think everyone's always like waiting for this magic like wand to like perk them into good health and happiness and vibrancy, and it's the work always has to come first.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that for sure. We have less than 1 minute left, so I think we don't even have time for any more questions, but
you're amazing. Thank you for being on. Really,
thank
you.
Thank you so much. I know so many people are going to be asking you for the recording right away. I'm so sorry they couldn't be on, but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all for being on. You're amazing. Be
well.
I
so appreciate it. And best of luck with this book and the success, and I'm enjoying it. So thank you so much, Ilana. I really appreciate
everyone. Have a good day. Be well.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.